Let's talk about the next trillion-dollar opportunity in AI. And it's probably not what you're thinking. It's not about what AI systems can do. It's about capturing the reason why they do it.
So, have you ever been in this situation? You're looking at a report, you see a decision, maybe a huge discount for a customer, and you're just left scratching your head. Like, how on earth did that get approved, right? This super simple, everyday business question, well, it actually points to a massive blind spot in the way our systems work today. And this really gets to the heart of the problem. You've got two kinds of systems. On one hand, you have your systems of record. Think Salesforce, Workday, you name it. They're amazing at telling you what happened. The transaction went through, the discount was applied. But on the other hand, what we're moving toward is systems of reasoning. These are all about capturing why it happened. And look, this isn't just some semantic difference between data and knowledge. It's the difference between a dumb audit log and a real, living, institutional memory.
All right, Section 1, AI's missing ingredient. Let's dig into why our systems know what happened, but have absolutely no clue why.
Think about it. Where does the real juicy stuff live? The actual reasoning behind a big decision? It's not in Salesforce. No way. It's buried in some random Slack thread or hidden deep in an email chain from 6 months ago. And you know the worst part? A lot of the time it's just stuck in someone's head. And when that person leaves the company, that knowledge walks right out the door with them. Poof, gone.
Yeah, this quote from Foundation Capital just hits the nail on the head. When you don't save the context, the why, that decision is basically an orphan. It's lost. You can't go back and learn from it, you can't properly audit it, and there's no way you can use it to make better decisions in the future.
And this is where it becomes a full-blown crisis for AI. An AI agent doesn't have, 20 years of gut feelings and experience to rely on. It just sees the data. It sees that an exception was made once, but it has no idea why. So what's it supposed to do? It's stuck. It can either be a robot and just follow the rules blindly, probably ticking off a valuable customer, or it can take a shot in the dark, make a judgment call, with absolutely zero accountability. It's a terrible choice.
Okay, so what's the solution? Enter context graphs. We're talking about building a searchable memory for your AI.
Now, this definition is really important. A context graph is not just another database log. It's a living record. It's actively stitching together the breadcrumbs of every decision across all your different apps and across time. And the result? For the first time ever, precedent. The history of your company's judgment becomes searchable.
So, what does this look like under the hood? Well, you can think of it in about 5 key layers. First, you need an entity graph. That's just a fancy way of saying you have one single unified view of your customers, your orders, all that stuff. Step 2, you capture the decision traces. That's the magic what and why for every single decision. That data then fuels Step 3, the precedent search. This is where your AI can ask, hey, have we ever done something like this before? Then, of course, you need guardrails and a human in the loop for safety. And finally, observation, so you can see what's going on and learn from it.
And the best part? This isn't some far-off futuristic concept. You can literally build this today using well-known, managed open-source tech. You can see here how these layers map to real tools. You'd use something like Postgres for your entity graph. OpenSearch is perfect for that powerful semantic search. You could use Redis for the human approval queue. And of course, Kafka is the gold standard for an unchangeable audit log. All right, now we're getting to my favorite part of this whole concept. It's a little counterintuitive, but it's all about the power of learning from mistakes. Specifically, the power of human intervention.
So just imagine for a second, you've spent all this time building a brilliant AI agent. It's humming along, and then it messes up. It gets something wrong, and a human has to jump in to fix it. That feels like a failure, doesn't it?
What if I told you that's completely wrong? Every single time a human has to override your AI, you're not losing. You're winning. And honestly, this is the most important mind-bending idea in this whole explainer.
This line just says it all. The override is the product. The correction is the data. The friction is the moat. Let that sink in. It means that every time your system creates a little friction, every time a human has to make a correction, that's not a bug, that's a feature. That's the most valuable data you could possibly collect.
So that approval queue, the one everyone complains about as a bottleneck, it's not a bottleneck. It's a gold mine. It's a pipeline for extracting pure knowledge. That little gap between what the AI wanted to do and what the human actually did, that's everything. That is the unwritten tribal knowledge of your company being captured one decision at a time. Meanwhile, your competitors, who are obsessed with 100% hands-off automation, they're throwing that priceless data straight into the trash.
Okay,
Now, this all sounds amazing, I know, but let's be real for a second. It's not a walk in the park. We have to talk about the trillion-dollar hurdles, the 6 big gaps between this idea and actually making it work.
Yep, there are 6 of them. And these aren't just little technical glitches. These are huge, make-or-break challenges that will separate the winners from everyone else.
So what are they? First, you've got the cold start problem. On day 1, your shiny new system has 0 precedents to learn from. Then, the reasoning capture problem. How do you get people to record their actual reasoning in the moment and not just some justification they made up later? You've also got to worry about precedent poisoning. What if your AI starts learning from bad decisions? Then there are the huge ethical and legal questions, like are experts just training their own replacements? And who's on the hook when the AI makes a bad call? And finally, the big paradox. If this data is a competitive mode, why would anyone ever share it to help the whole ecosystem learn?
And that's the key thing to get here. These aren't things you can just solve with better code. These are messy human problems. They're organizational, they're ethical, and yeah, they're even political challenges you have to navigate inside a company.
So, that brings us to the finish line, the race for why. Because even with all those hurdles we just talked about, getting started on this now creates an advantage that pretty soon nobody will be able to catch.
I absolutely love this quote. Just think about being able to say this. Our competitors trained on documentation. We trained on disagreement. I mean, come on. While everyone else is feeding their AI stale, outdated user manuals, you're training yours on the messy, dynamic, high-value reality of human judgment. That's not just a little better, it's a completely different league of intelligence.
So, here's the bottom line. Every single decision you log today, every time a human makes a correction, and you capture the why, that becomes another brick in the foundation of a much, much smarter system. It's a compounding advantage, like interest on a loan. And the companies that get this and start building their context graph now, even if it's imperfect, are going to be basically unbeatable in just a few years.
So I want to leave you with one final thought, a question to take back to your team. In your organization, who owns the why? Seriously, think about it, because the answer to that question is probably going to determine who wins this next chapter of AI.